Hello everyone, welcome to Melanie's Journals. Today I'm going to show you a flip through of the first 6 months of this year and my completed journal, the first one. And yeah, I finally finished all the pages, all the weeklies mainly, so I can finally show them to you. So I'm very excited. I'm also going to give you a ranking of my favorite month, and then of course which month is my least favorite, and that's just going to be, you know, a combination of whether I like the cover page or whether I was motivated or anything like that. But yeah, I hope you will enjoy this video. So first up, I will say this is a notebook from Notebook Therapy. This is part of their Sakura collection from last year, and this is a vegan leather journal, and I have to say I really like how it held up so far. I love all the linen designs, all the velvet designs, but I have noticed that although you can see some scratchings, it still looks very good, and I'm finding that especially the linen ones, they just get really dirty very quickly, especially if you draw a lot. So yeah, I'm very happy how this one held up. So yeah. Apart from that, I really love all their journals. I love the quality of the paper and everything. So I'm gonna start at the very beginning. Here is the map of the Lonely Mountain that I drew in, and it's a thing I repeated in the next journal. So we're going to start off with, this is the opening page or the yearly setup. I spent a lot of time on this setup, as you can tell. And of course, one of my favorite things is that this door actually opens and will show you the view of Hobbiton from Bag End. So yeah, absolutely one of my favorite things. I will say my setup for this current journal is a lot simpler and it has saved me a lot of time, but really happy with this yearly setup. And of course we have the outside. So this is basically 4 drawings, and very detailed drawings, but yeah, I was very happy with them. If you guys would like, I can actually make these into a setup that you could download with the door as well. So just let me know if you'd like that and I will set it up. And here we have the 22 cover page with a quote, "Where there's a life, there's hope." Here we have the calendar, just some of the birthdays. My creativity page, and this is based off of Bilbo's, I think it's his dressing gown that he wears in the movie. His writing desk, probably not my favorite, but oh well. To cover this up, this is my finance and savings tracker with the drawings at the bottom with all of the stuff that you can find in Bag End. Especially this journal, it's based off mainly the Hobbit trilogies. There is some Lord of the Rings in there, of course, but it's mainly based on those movies. We have my period and Instagram tracker with a little snippet of the Green Dragon, the pub in Hobbiton. And then my book tracker and wedding planning page with the party tree. And then we have the mind map page of Frodo and Sam off on their journey. Really like how this drawing turned out. As you can see, I didn't really use my mind map page at that moment, but I still really like this drawing. Also, please excuse my voice. I've been sick for the past week or so it's not as it should be. And here we have the first month, January, which of course is Rivendell. I will say this is probably one of my favorite cover pages so far. I think it turned out really well, and yeah, it's just so striking. The monthly Instagram cult page. We have a mood tracker page. And then the weeklies. This one's probably my least favorite of this month, but you always have that. You have in like every month I have my favorite and my least favorite, but really love this one. It was very different than what I had initially planned for myself. But yeah, very, very happy with it. Cancel. And here we have the My Map page with Arwen and Aragorn. Also probably one of my favorite My Map pages. Overall, I am very happy with January. Now we go to February, which is Mirkwood. Again, extremely happy how this one turned out. This is also probably the month that has got a lot of attention. So I was very, very happy about that. And this also kind of started a trend where after this you will see that quite a lot of the cover pages or the monthly setups, a lot of doors and a lot of symmetry, which I found was very interesting. I hadn't expected that, but it kind of turned out this way. Yeah, very happy with this. Then the monthly goals and Instagram goals. I love the washi tape. I do find that it's a bit difficult sometimes to see these daggers, and even though I think they turned out really, really well. But yeah. The habit and mood tracker page. First weekly with Tariel. Also very happy with this one. The Mirkwood Halls with a tiny cameo of Thranduil sitting in his throne. The barrels from which the dwarves escape. And the river and the bridge leading into the Mirkwood realm. And here we have the My Map page, and here are Kili and Tariel. Really, really happy how this one turned out, especially the water. I think that the colors looked, they just turned out really well, how I wanted them to, and also the characters as well. Very happy again with this one. We're going to go on to March. This is Lake Town. Now I will say the next ones coming up are probably some of my least favorite. For this one especially, I wasn't really happy how this one turned out. That's maybe just might be my personal opinion, but I just find it really messy. Yeah, not the way I planned it, but oh well. Happy anyway it got done. We have the monthly goals and Instagram goals page. The mood tracker page. This one I do really, really like. It was a lot of work, but it's definitely very striking. Then we have the first weekly with Bard going into Lake Town. Bard's house. Do really like this one. With this month I was actually on holiday as well, and I was also starting a new job. So you'll probably see that in this month and next month. I was just very, very busy, and so a lot of these weeklies I actually had to paint quite a bit later. And for those locations, and especially Lake Town as well, I didn't always find the best references. So I haven't really expected to do this one, but I do really, really like it. I really like how it turned out. So this is the painting of the mayor, the image I has of himself, and although it's completely different than all the others, I'm really happy with this one. I really think it shows just his character. So yeah. My least favorite probably the escape from Smaug. I think this just needed a little bit more depth, a bit more darkness, but I'm not going to go in and change it anymore. What's done is done, but yeah, it's the way it is. And then the last weekly is Bard fighting Smaug, and I did like this one. I think it's quite very, very striking. And then finally here we have the My Map page. And here we have Bard and his family. Really happy with this one. This was actually quite a few pictures that I put together. So the house in the background, them standing together, but their facial expressions were from happier pictures. So very happy how this one turned out. I think I really captured the actors. So happy with that. Now we're going to go on to the month of April. This is in Dale, the city of Dale. I like and I dislike this cover page. Again, just like I think with one of the previous remarks, I think this just needed more depth in color. I find it's very colorful, but I find it quite bland still as well. But again, I'm not going to go in. I spent a lot of time on this picture, and I just don't have the time to go in even further. But it was very different from the other one, and I'm happier with it than Lake Town. And it was nice because I felt that Lake Town was quite drab, so I liked all the colorful images that this one has. Here we have the monthly and social media goals, the habit and mood tracker, and the first weekly. I am happy with this one. I think this one turned out very well. I will say I'm not happy with the next ones. Like I said, I just been on holiday, started a new job, so it wasn't really my priority at this moment to really pay that much attention to my bullet journal, apart from making it functional. So I would still use my bullet journal, but my all these pages would just be an empty page right here, and I could just fill in the rest. So that was just practical for me. But it did mean that I had to go back, and I guess because Dale, it's not really featured that much in the movie. There weren't that many scenes that really spoke to me, and I think it really shows. I think this one spoke to me the most, and it was good to be able to film this one and show you guys the rest. You'll see. So here we have the windlands from which the black arrows are fired onto dragons. Or potential dragons. This is Hilda from the Hobbit trilogies. She was an original character, but she was really quite cool, I have to say. This was a really nice scene of her to encourage the woman to fight instead of hiding away, which I thought was really nice actually, because especially in for example, Helm's Deep, while I understand that it was quite traditional and I think usual for the women and children to hide or to be protected, it did kind of feel off to me that, you know, why are you sending little boys to fight when there were quite a few able women as well that could fight. So they kind of addressed that in a subtle way in this movie. I was really hoping this page would turn out really well. I really loved when the elves came, the army. I think it's a really funny scene, but it just didn't work out. Let's move on. This page did turn out really well. This one was the My Map page with Bard and Thranduil. And I will say, I didn't realize, but Bard's actually in 2 My Map pages. He will probably be the only character that's featured there twice. But yeah, I really loved how this one turned out. I liked the scene and just their faces. I think I captured them quite well. So I think a good ending to a mediocre month. Now we're gonna go on to the month of May. So like I said, the symmetry with the doors is kind of coming back here. And this of course is the Kingdom of Erebor, and I really love how this month turned out. I really like how this page is quite simple. Maybe not the drawing itself, but color wise and just the overall setup and the composition. And I think it was just very, very effective. So really like this one. We have the monthly goals and social media goals. With the orchestra, really again like how this combination turned out. We have the mood tracker page. And then the first weekly, probably my favorite weekly of all of them, I have to say. Really, really like how this one turned out. It is based off of a painting that I saw on Pinterest. So I can't really claim anything my own apart from just drawing it in and then painting it. But yeah, very, very, very happy how this turned out. I think the shimmering is just fantastic. So I thought a very, very good week to start off with. Here we have the second week, which is the Hall of the King with the golden floor after Smaug escapes or leaves Erebor. And tries to burn down Lake Town, or he burns down Lake Town before he's killed. Again, probably the hall could maybe use a bit more, but I was very happy with the flooring, and I think because the floor is so bright, it would be very difficult to add any of the other details, so happy with it. Here we have Lothlorien. I also really like this one. It was very different again, but I really like the depth that I was able to create and to really show his descent into madness. And then finally, this is a scene of actually the prologue when Bilbo tells the story of Erebor. It was because I wasn't really able to find an image for Erebor that wasn't very similar to the other three. And I wanted something really different. So this is where they show the craftsmanship of the dwarves. Again, this was one of the images that was one of the last ones, so I had to actually go back and do this one. Didn't really turn out how I wanted it to, but I am still happy with it. I actually like it's very blocked and quite striking, I still think, and very different from all the others, especially the color scheme. So I do like that. And then we finish on the My Map page, which is a very peaceful scene actually in Hobbiton with Thorin and Bilbo, and it's kind of a what if scenario. Again, this was an image I found on Pinterest, so I can't really claim anything as my own. I think the guy who made it was called Rato Link or something like that, yeah, and I kind of made it my own. But I really love this scene. And now we're going to go on to the last month, which is one of the first scenes that we see in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This is June and the halls of Durin. Very happy this turned out. Again, that whole symmetry with the doors and the blue coloring, I know it's very striking, and it always works out very well. So very happy with this. I have to say I didn't really find this one too difficult. I think if you're not that confident with your drawing skills, the door part you can always like either copy in or like make it a sticker or like trace it. Because the trees itself, it was just a simple tree and then just coloring with black. You can see that when I actually make this setup. So I think this one is quite doable if you would like to recreate it. Here's the monthly goals and the social media goals. Gimli's axe. This is Gandalf's ring actually, as a mood tracker. And this is an image I found of the halls of Moria. Really like how this one turned out. But I think the rest are more striking. I did have to fill these in later. This one is Gimli when he finds Balin's tomb. It's quite a sad scene actually, but I really like how this one turned out with all the colorings and it's just a very cinematic. Well, of course, it's very cinematic scene in the movie. Oh, sorry, we have some. There we go. Also really like this one. This is when they enter into the halls of Moria as well, and just the light reflecting these vast halls. I think it turned out very well, and it really shows how big the space is. Even though this is of course a very muted color palette. I mean, it's just different tones of gray, a tiny smidge of some yellow and some blue, but really that's it. So very happy how that turned out. This is a very striking image I found. It almost kind of looked like a propaganda piece, or it's a beautiful art piece of Khazad-dûm, which is the other name for Moria. And it had this very dynamic, you could really see the dwarven architecture in here and show, you know, their love of mining, the mining of mithril that you can see here, as well as this is the door of Moria. So I just really like this painting. It actually had a few statues as well, but again, I was finishing this painting yesterday, so I just want to kind of be done with it, but still capture the essence of the painting. And of course it has all the shimmerings that you would expect for a dwarven kingdom. And then finally we have Gandalf fighting the Balrog. This was based off an image I found, and I'm really happy with it. I was very apprehensive on drawing this because it seemed to be very, very difficult, and it was definitely not an easy drawing, but I really liked how it turned out. I used a lot of metallics to really capture that glow that the Balrog has, but I think you can also really see Gandalf's strength. So very happy with this one, and also a really great one, I think, to end to end this month and to end this notebook. And the final part is the My Map page, and here I actually drew Balin and Dwalin in Hobbiton. I didn't really want to make them in Moria because, of course, Balin, we actually find Balin's tomb, so I found it to be a bit depressing. So I wanted the two brothers to be together when they had a really nice time, and I found that you could really see that brotherly affection when they were in Hobbiton, so that's why they are here. But that brings us to the end. I mean, the rest is all just some notes that I have in here. I have some of my washi tape swatches that I do also in the back of the journal. But yeah, that's really it. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that, and I hope I can show you the flip through of the next journal relatively soon. I mean, we're in halfway through August, so it's going quite quickly. But now I will just give you a final ranking of the months. So I think it will come as no surprise that probably April is my least favorite month, although I did prefer this cover page over March. The rest I wasn't really happy with, so this one's going to be my least favorite. Then we're going to go on to March. Yeah, again, not really happy with the cover page. I had a lot of my mind in those 2 months. I didn't really have all the time that I wanted. I really wanted to get settled into my job, and I really had to find a new rhythm for myself to make time to do bullet journaling. So that one is that. Now is the difficult part, but I think then probably May. I love the cover page, I love some of the weeklies, but I think overall I had some better ones, even though I think one of my all-time favorite weeklies is in this month. I think the rest, I think I had months that were consistently a bit better. So then probably June will probably be my third favorite. Really love the start. I think probably because I actually had to paint a lot of it later, so I wasn't really able to enjoy some of the paintings that I had. I think otherwise it might even be higher. I do really think that you can see my progression really, really well, that even though I had to go back in a few months later, I think just the practice of drawing and painting so much, I think it really shows in these final pieces. So I am happy with that. So I think had I not left it to so late, it might have been like maybe even my favorite. But for now, I can't really say that. This is difficult. I really had to debate between the two, but I think January is going to be my second favorite. I think the cover page I still think is the most striking of the two. And overall, I'm very, very happy with how this month turned out. I think as you heard, but I think looking back, just like this one, for example, I was really happy with this drawing. It was the first weekly that I made, but I think looking back, it's a bit bland in comparison to the others that I made. And this one, my idea just didn't really come out on paper as I wanted it to, but then the other two I think were great, as well as in my map page. So that's why it's very difficult for me, but I think that February is still my favorite month of this journal. I think all of them just turned out really the way I wanted it to. Cover page turned out well. I think the weapons turned out well. Yeah, I'm just really, really happy with this. The map page, all of the weeklies. Maybe not all my favorite, but definitely none of them are my least favorite. So I think that really matters. And I just really enjoyed going there. I think Mirkwood is a very interesting place to. I wish we had spent a bit more time in the place. So yeah, so February is my favorite of my first bullet journal. And one thing I will say, I think as you can see for me, March and April were a bit of difficult months for me. I think one of the things I also played with it is that in this bullet journal, all of the realms were kind of back to back, in the sense that I had 2 elven realms, 2 men realms, and then 2 dwarven realms, and they didn't really differ that much from each other. I think what helped with Rivendell and Mirkwood are very, very different from each other, so it really added some new elements, whereas I found Laketown and Dale to be very similar. And maybe that's also why they became a bit boring for me. With Moria and Erebor, of course they are different, and of course they were in different trilogies, so there was a bit more different scenes I could depict, but they were both, you know, very dark and the blue tones. I enjoyed making them. I really enjoyed the dwarven architecture, but I guess the lack of variety also kind of inhibited my creativity a little bit. So for the next few months, I've already planned ahead, but I don't think I'll have that problem, because we'll be going to all very, very different locations, so everything will remain like new and fresh, and different color palettes as well, so that will be very, very interesting. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video, which will be my setup for September. So see you then. Thank you, like and subscribe, and yeah, see you then.